Hello, welcome to the Old Man Orange podcast. I'm Spencer Scott Holmes.
And I'm Ryan Dunnigan.
We're coming at you with some Christmas cheer. And of course, the best way you can do it possible, that is Batman's Christmas Adventure in Batman Returns, which it's been actually
Original
a good
title.
moment. Yeah, original title.
Sam Ham draft.
Yeah, the Sam Ham draft that got tossed out that Tim Burton didn't want to deal with, Sam's ham anymore, Which, I kid you not, when you kind of look at that, I haven't read the full thing, but just a summary of, like, Sam Ham, what he wanted to do, sounds kind of interesting. And then Tim Burton's like, no, I'm going to get the guy from Nightmare Before Christmas to show up. He doesn't even like Batman.
Yeah, no, I remember that guy's name. He wrote Heathers, and he wrote...
Which Heathers is a good movie, but yeah.
And he wrote
That's not
Cape
Batman.
Fear. It's not Batman. He wrote Cape Fear, and I've never seen Heathers, but he was like in that documentary, that Superman documentary about the Superman movie that never got made. And
yeah.
He was like, yes, I was on. He wanted me on. They brought in Kevin Smith's Superman script, and I was not a fan. I don't really like comic books. I was just like, oh, fuck this guy. So, I mean, he wrote Cape Fear. It's a fun movie, whatever. Never seen Heathers. But I'm like, I'm just kind of like...
yeah. It's not helping the cause. Here's the thing. He's got like the worst picture on Wikipedia, so at least that makes up for it. He's like bent over this chair, and he's got hair, but then he's just got this like one strand going over. It's like, dude, you got to shave it, buddy. Like, I don't know what you're doing.
I mean, I want to say the guy's got more like IMDb credits than us, but at the exact same time, it's also kind of like, well, what you really done since Cape Fear and Heathers? I'm sure there's some other shit he's done. Not to be a dick. We're already starting this movie in like this one guy that kind of gave this off-putting interview from a documentary that came out 15 years ago. Fuck that guy, but we still kind of like this movie,
Well, he actually does have another one that's a really big one. I don't know if he wrote it by himself, but he's on Demolition Man too, apparently.
Oh, really? He's on Demolition Man? He doesn't seem like I wouldn't.
Yeah, I know. I feel like, he's also on that Hudson Hawk Bruce Willis one. I don't think I've ever seen that one. I think I have it.
That movie,
it's. But I think Stephen D'Souza probably wrote more of it. So I think a lot of times he's there, but like it doesn't mean that like he wrote all of it. But yeah, no.
Yeah, go for it.
I was just gonna say as I said, it's been a moment since I've seen Batman Returns, even just like kind of like these four Batman movies in general, which that's like how so many movies are anymore. I kind of realize it's like, it's like next thing you know, you go to watch it again, you go, God, that's been like 15 years since I've seen that, like what the hell happened, but when you do watch Batman Returns, like I can't help but think that it's like, it really feels like I'm just watching a Tim Burton movie that just happens to have Batman in it.
Yeah, I have a weird relationship with this movie just because it was, to bring it back to Christmas, one of the first Christmases I can remember. Biggest toy I got that Christmas was the Batmobile. It was the Batman Returns Batmobile.
Ooh, there we go.
Push, and it had the little like sides shoot off, so it became a little missile thing,
Yeah, a little motorcycle thingy-majiggy.
Yeah, so, and I remember that was like the toy for that, like, I remember there was even like because we had an old school VHS, kind of like the old school VHS home video, like before you.
Yeah, we put the full VHS in it. Yeah,
like you're like a newsman on the scene, But like I remember just looking back on it years ago and seeing it, and it was like kind of like the N64 kid, like but it was like the Batmobile. It was me. It's like the Batmobile, So, and I remember I wanted to see this movie. But I had to be really young, like 3 or 4 or 5, something like that. And my parents, they must have heard all the media stuff. Like, no, this is not a kids movie. We can't take you to see that. But we'll get you the Batmobile, though.
Yeah, exactly. I know. My first Batmobile was the Batman Forever one, which it's actually sitting back there. You can't see it, but there's an American flag sticking out of it, just so you know where it's at. you know, and but no, that, like, you know, that's the thing is, I will say, like, the Batmobile, like, is almost like the top tier one is then Batman and then Batman Returns. Like, it's so cool in this one, and that's where they, like, there's certain gadgets and things like that that are so amazing. And when I was a kid too, I had I had like the McDonald's toys. I remember having the coloring book for Batman Returns and everything like that. Like, in a sense, I don't know if this was maybe the first main Batman thing I kind of saw. For some reason, I remember seeing this one before seeing 89 somehow, some way, you know, but it probably all coincided with like the animated series and all that kind of stuff, and then 66 Batman. So I had like 3 views of Batman all at once, you know, and in the 90s, you didn't even question this movie one bit. And I think it's like that thing where, like, when parents see it and they go like, oh my gosh, it's got all these like weird sexual innuendos and all this like violence and stuff like that. As a kid, I think that stuff just goes over your head. You're like, it's fucking Batman on screen. Hell yeah.
Yeah, totally.
You know what I mean? You're like, you know, you don't think much of it. You're like, well, the penguin's kind of, you know, big and fat and goofy, but like, you know.
Well, another thing that kind of, I mean, I think it went over my head a lot as a kid. I just was like, okay, you know, it's kind of like no different than like a villain musical number, any number of Disney movies. Because if you think about it, whenever there's like a villain musical number, they're always getting really close to the good guy or like tossing him in the air and all this kind of shit. So I'm just like, just like, yeah, whatever. That's what bad guys do, right? They get really up in your personal space and act really fucking creepy. That's just what they do, right? I'm like, oh, you know, kind of like clicks in a little later, you know. But I remember this movie. I think we had the 1989 Batman movie, and I did like it a lot as a kid. But it was just that thing you kind of like, you put on, wait for Batman shit, and then all like the actual like Vicky Vale like reporter stuff would happen. You're like, all right, whatever. You just kind of like zone out for a little bit, then like Batman shit happen again, or Joker shit would happen. And you get kind of back into it. I remember when this one was coming out. I remember it was a big deal. People were excited for it. Because 89 this one was like 92 or 93, right?
This was 92, and it came out in June, kind of strangely enough. I mean, makes this be a summer blockbuster, but for some reason, because of the Christmasness in it, you feel like it would have came out like later in the year.
Well, that's also the reason why we're doing it now for like Christmas, you know, up there, you know. But
yeah, exactly. Like, it's a good Christmas spirit. And I was already in a Michael Keaton mood anyways. I just watched Jack Frost.
Could have done that.
You know, that movie was oddly better than I remember it being, but still kind of weird at the same time.
Well, as they say, Snow Dad is better than no dad. So.
It should have been the tagline on the poster.
I don't know if it was. I think it may have been. I don't know.
I think you just had like some wit going there. I think that should have been just like, Snow Dad's better than no dad, you know? Unless you're in a volcano.
Jack Frost 2. They go like Jack Frost 2, like Christmas in Maui. And then the cut like that was short.
Son, pull me away!
So, like
they're on a plane to Antarctica, but all of a sudden, like, the plane breaks down and they have to jump out at the equator.
Oh shit. Well, here's the thing about that movie. I only saw it once, and I saw it like the year it came out, but it was also one of those things of like, I saw it around Halloween of all things too. But the thing about it is
it's a little scary.
Well, there's the other Jack Frost movie where girl from American Pie gets fucked by a foam snowman or whatever in the shower or whatever that was.
Yeah, that was
Jack
what
Frost.
confused me when I was a kid when that Jack Frost Michael Keaton one came out. I'm like, I thought this was a horror series. Like, it just felt like almost like in my mind, it was almost like there was Friday the 13th, and then for some reason the second one it just turned into like a family like comedy. I was like, what? It was hard for me to wrap my head around that.
You won't hear me say this very often, but it's quite possibly the funniest rape scene I've ever seen. In the horror movie one, because at some point, have you seen that one?
I never have, you know, and now I'm actually kind of intrigued. You mentioned the American Pie girl and everything like that. I'm like, well, let's see where this is going.
I mean, it's obviously a horrible thing that happens to her, but just imagining the context of filming it, them explaining what happens. I think it's the girl from Nadia from American Pie. I think it's Nadia. And she's in, of course, it would have been around that time, right? She's taking a shower or taking a bath, and then through the water, the snowman comes through and then like basically starts trying to like basically he's like it maybe he's just choking her out, but very well could be fucking her. Anyway, they're fighting back and forth in the shower, and you just see her like trying not to laugh, naked, wrestling with this fake foam snowman.
I'm super intrigued. I think that movie's on Prime.
And then she like hits the back of her head against the shower or something. So, like, it's not really a good movie. I remember it being a good movie.
Yeah, I can't imagine being great, but it feels like it's worth like an entertainment like watch.
Like that part, I was kind of like, I mean, I know what they want me to feel right now. Actually, I don't know what they want me to feel. I think someone was like, "This is fucking hot." Another person's just like, "This is me fucked up." And another person's like, "This is fucking hot." Right? Not really.
Somebody's like, "Oh, it's pretty fucking funny. It's a snowman." I feel like there's a lot of mixed vibes going there.
Probably there's a couple of multiple like conflicting visions on the set that day. Probably. But going back to this, Michael Keaton, yeah.
But Michael Keaton, Batman Returns when Michael Keaton returns.
And I'll say that go back to Batman proper. So I'm not gonna lie. It was in my mind for a long time that all Tim Burton Batman movies are good and all that. And then I got to a little bit of that point of like when Christopher Nolan's movies coming out, and I was in my early 20s. And I was like, I don't know if Michael Keaton Batman is really that good, you know? And then, like, with time, I kind of came around to him again, you know? That said, I think this movie, it's like, I think of it kind of, and I mean, and some people, this is a different movie to different people, but I think of it as kind of like Spider-Man 3. Mm-hmm. And I think I actually like Spider-Man 3 more. But at the same time, I feel like it's something where it's like some really fucking weird choices were made. And some things I'm like, why would you do that? But then at the same time, it's still overall a pretty entertaining movie. And the things it does good, it does really good.
Yeah, no, that describes it very well, because that's the same way I kind of thought about the movie. Is you kind of have, especially like, you know, with more Batman comics under your belt by, you know, as time has gone on, you literally have to go in this movie with a very open mind. Like, that's the first and foremost thing there, you know, because I could see like where like if somebody like came straight from the comic books, you know, and then went to watch this movie now, especially like 30 years plus, you know, they'd be like, whoa, what the fuck's going on in this film here? Like, this is really weirdly bizarre, you know, but like you kind of just go with it and everything like that. And it is a very interesting movie, and there is a lot of cool stuff in it. And of course, I mean, the one upside you mostly do get with Tim Burton movies, especially at this time period, you'll get cool models, you'll get cool effects, you'll get all these kind of weird little things like that. You know, there's a lot of weird logic gaps in this movie, you know, and choices that kind of happen that you just kind of go, oh, okay. You know, like I was thinking, like, there's a part where where Penguin controls Batman's car by remote control. Well, Batman literally just punches the floorboard of the Batmobile like it was made out of brittle wood and rips that thing out. I'm like, could you imagine the Batmobile just being made of that weak of a floorboard, you know? I mean, I know it's Batman, but still, like, what's he punching there? Steel?
I guess the thing has armor plating. It kind of goes in around everywhere. You think?
So he's like, I kept the bottom real weak for this just in case this happened.
Every so often they come up with some excuses in Batman comics. You're like, okay, like I want to say there's one where he planted like multiple mini vials of like acid like under like in calluses around his body in case he gets like stuck in like a prison or something like that, something to melt the bars. I'm like, that's a bit much, but you know, I'll go with it. Okay, cool. You know,
okay, in case he really wanted to bitch slap somebody.
Exactly.
Give a bunch of acid. Oh, why'd you put a bunch of acid on your head? Like, yeah, I wanted to fucking use that. It's been in my glove forever.
But I am having trouble imagining kind of like, okay, I'm going to have this one weak spot that no one will ever think of just in case Penguin gets a hold and controls my Batmobile via one of those 50-cent little like ride-along things you get, like you see at the grocery store, you know?
Yeah, exactly, you know. But yeah, it's like one of those ones, you know, that, and then the fact of like, you know, then of course there's when Batman straps that guy with a bomb, chucks him overboard, and he blows up, like the most un-Batman thing. You know,
By this point, we already saw him kill a factory full of people.
Yeah, well, yeah, that did happen in the first one, and it's funny because I think in the Sam Hamm like Batman Returns script, he actually had it where Batman wasn't killing people. I think he was trying to push it more Batman like in a sense, more comic book.
Well, I remember hearing, because I was looking up this movie leading up to it, the Sam Hamm version. It's weird. I think the Sam Hamm version, like the story, is better, but I think all the characterization with Penguin and Catwoman is way better in this.
Yeah, I could probably see something like that there too, because I will say, like, once again, if you kind of just go along with this movie and you just go with the Penguin and Catwoman and stuff like, and realistically, I think that both Michelle Pfeiffer and Danny DeVito are excellent. It is kind of weird though that they make them just so like monstrous and almost so unlike that, and just like they're almost like they got superpowers, even though we're in a Batman story and things like that nature too. Because I think about like with Catwoman, like when she starts off and she's Selena Kyle, and she's the secretary for
Max Schreck.
Yeah, Max Schreck, Christopher Walken and everything. And she's so bumbly, goofy, like, like a klutz, can't do anything. And then the second Max Schreck pushes her out of like, a 7-story window or whatnot, like all of a sudden she's like, oh, I can do, hands or back handsprings now. I can do all these moves. I'm all suave and smooth and everything like that, I mean, maybe it just rattled one part of her brain and just kind of fixed everything. But
it's weird. Like,
bunch of cats gnawed on me and it changed my life.
I mean, I guess maybe it was the spirit of the cats or some shit like that. I don't know.
It's like sometimes I think like that's those are like those weird Tim Burton and that other dude Daniel Waters, that guy. I think just writing some stuff in there that you kind of go, that's such a weird choice, And I know that like it's one of those ones if you're not really thinking Batman comic wise, you just kind of go along with it, like, oh, these movies are just weird. That's just, we're expecting monster movie type stuff.
Well, another thing that's really weird about it is it feels like it's, how do I put it? Like it's like an episode of the '66 Batman, because you get to like say Dark Knight or the Batman, and by then it's like we're trying to take it very serious, but there's some superhero stuff that still kind of comes in, where this is like it's still kind of campy, but it's '66 camp. Like there's that point where I remember when people are viewing this as very dark and serious, but then you watch it, it's like so fucking silly. But then you have like Penguin coming in and being like, we're gonna blow the balls and vaginas of all the children of the city. And I go, the fuck? And then he's just like, he's Catwoman, there's the kind of pussy I like, just like, it's like,
buy a Happy Meal.
Exactly.
You get me.
Here's the thing. I think this is like a more toned down of Frank Reynolds, in all honesty.
It kind of is. It's Frank Reynolds if, like, his dad was Pee Wee Herman.
Just kind of imagining like the part when they go to chuck the like bassinet into the river. It's like, ah! Like does the Pee Wee laugh as they do it? I don't know why.
Which that lady's like, you know what? I knew I should have slept with Pee Wee Herman. This is the kind of child he produces. Had to keep him in a cage. He ate the family cat.
Well, I think it's interesting because obviously Tim Burton is more infatuated with like the Universal monster kind of thing of it all. And I kind of, in all honesty, at this point, I get why, because you had like you had the Joker, and then in the minds of Hollywood execs, the next biggest villain was the Penguin going off the '66. So I guess trying to think of what. Yeah,
I thought that, I just want to say that real quick. I thought that was kind of interesting that Warner Brothers was like, according to our like data, Penguin's the second biggest like Batman villain. Like I always thought that was like, really? I mean, I'm not looking at the numbers, so maybe he is, but I was like, wow, that's, not saying they're wrong. I like the Penguin a lot and everything like that, but I wouldn't have guessed second.
According to our data, we got off the Apple II,
Yeah.
Collected.
The Steve Wozniak programmed for us, and sold to us out of his garage. And it's still in that garage to this day, even though he works at Apple.
Yeah, don't ask us. He has his own preferences, I guess.
Yeah, he says he's more comfortable at home.
That whole part. Where's I going with that? Oh yeah, yeah. Because apparently, I guess, because Joker, I don't really think was properly solidified as like Batman's #1 villain until the '80s. Because the '80s you had Dark Knight Returns, and you had Killing Joke, and then then in the '70s you had Dennis O'Neil and Neil Adams. They like to use the Joker aside from Ra's al Ghul a lot. So, or at least they have that famous cover. I only really read the Ra's al Ghul stuff, in all honesty, when it comes to Batman. But there's like famous cover with Batman on the playing card, Joker leaning down, or whatever,
Oh yeah, exactly.
So I think that's where they're making Joker go. So I think around that time is when Joker was slowly becoming more of Batman's main antagonist. But that said, I think like after Joker, like what do you do? Like, okay, he's an aristocrat. Like, what's so fucking scary about an aristocrat? Well, I guess maybe you could do like a Scarface kind of thing. Well, that's not Tim Burton style. So I can see why they make him like a sewer creature that was fallen aristocracy,
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of like this socialite that's been like dropped off into a river and live with penguins that somehow some way live in Gotham City.
Yeah, I kind of get that, in all honesty.
And then for some reason, I felt like there's all the out of work like Joker clowns that are like, oh, well, we need a job.
Well, I'll say this, something I do like. Or keep in mind, I fucking hate clown and Joker. I hate like not Joker, but I hate like clown and circus aesthetics by this point. I'm just fucking tired of it, and especially when it's like, ooh, we're scary, mean clowns. Like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, and you're not Sweet Tooth.
Even Sweet Tooth. Fuck Sweet Tooth. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, you gotta fucking unlock him in all the other games.
Yeah, fuck him. I don't give a shit. I don't know. I just don't give a shit about clowns. That's all. And it's not like, ooh, they freak me out. It's like, no, I think they're just fucking stupid and I see them too fucking much. But anyway, not the point. I do appreciate the thing with the Red Triangle Gang is apparently there's things like, whether it be like other drafts of the scripts or external media, that implies that Penguin eventually ran away to the circus. He was taken in by the circus, and wherever the circus went, children went disappearing. So, Penguin was probably eating those kids or whatever. Mm-hmm. And then from there, like eventually the circus went out of business, so the circus turned to crime, and Penguin was coordinating it from the sewers. I'm like, that's actually kind of a more interesting way to go about it, as opposed to like because even though I like 89 more, they're just Joker goons. They're just goons. That's all they are. You got it from the goon store,
Yeah, well, as I said, they're out of work, so it was this or go on welfare, so we joined Penguin.
Yeah.
Because we're honest citizens. We're not going to go on that welfare. We're just. I don't want money for nothing, but I also don't want to pay taxes. I got a weird thing going here. And I want to wear this clown makeup because you know what? This is who I am. I don't. I'm not putting on a penguin suit if that's what you're thinking.
Any other case, I'm like, be who you are. Don't let other people define you. Be who you are. But if you are, you choose to be a clown. I mean, I'm going to say this is one of the cases right now. I think Batman should have killed more people. I'm just going to say that.
The clown's like, hey, I'm just still trying to pay off my clown school tuitions.
No one made you go to clown school tuition. No one made you. That was your choice.
Actually, my father said that, since I was such a joker, I should just go to clown school. So I said I would if he thought that was a joke. But I proved him wrong. And now here I am, $150,000 in debt to clown school. You're probably wondering how they take so much, but they actually offer a lot there. It's more difficult than getting like a doctor's degree.
7 years at clown school, and all I can do is ride this fucking unicycle. I mean,
I could juggle while I'm riding it, but the juggling skills are a little tough. I had a friend. He was juggling chainsaws, lost an arm. Yep.
They couldn't juggle after that.
Yeah, exactly. So now they just call him Stumpy.
Love nubs.
But yeah,
keep in the blowjob closet. Yeah.
So yeah. I guess Batman could have strapped bombs to all those guys, and I don't think anybody would have been missed.
I'm just tired of clown shit all the time. But this also the time before I was really tired of clown shit. So
well, this is it sounds weird, but these two movies are kind of the ones that made that clown shit like really popular. Like you don't think about it, but like when I was kind of watching, I'm like, oh, this is sort of where like that clown stuff really starts from, you know?
Well, this is also one of those Tim Burton-y movies ever made, really, when you think about it.
Well, yeah, because that was the only way they could get him back is that like he's like, yeah, you just got to let me go full Tim Burton. They're like, well, Tim Burton makes money. Oh, okay, you're gonna make us money, right, Tim Burton? Right? Well, okay, like here you go. Out. We'll take the reins off. Let's see what happens.
Well, I do think it's a little bullshit that they got mad at Tim Burton for making what Tim Burton made, and then they're like, Tim, you were mad at like Jim. What'd you do? He said, make whatever I want to make. Like, we didn't think you'd be having like Danny DeVito try to fuck everything that moves while coughing up bile, and then like
bite a dude's nose off.
Yeah. Like. And I mean, don't get me wrong. I guess one of the things about this movie that is interesting is, I mean, I guess you can't really even talk about Batman that much because Batman only really has the Selina Kyle relationship going on. Everything else,
he's barely in it. Half the time he's just sitting down watching TV on his 36-inch, big screen, with Alfred like in the background doing something.
Yeah, getting back from the town hall from buying groceries, the very beginning when Alfred's walking through with the groceries and all of a sudden that's when the red triangle gang happens. I wonder if like they pass by each other in the car on the way there, like he sees the Batmobile coming and like, oh, that's okay, I'll get dinner ready by the time he gets back.
He's gonna work up an appetite. I'll make some cold soup for him just to fuck with him.
His favorite. Nothing like cold soup in fucking December.
Yeah, in a cold ass wet cave.
I do like that part where like Commissioner Gordon's coming in like, oh gee, Batman, you did such a good job. Thank you so much. He doesn't even acknowledge him, just walks right by him, doesn't even say nothing.
I know, poor Commissioner Gordon has like no parts in this one too, I noticed. He's like in there like 2 scenes.
Like, hey, you want to hang out sometime? Like, no. Okay,
I'll turn the light on for you. I'm like a Motel 6. I keep the light on for you, Batman.
I know, Jim. I know. Just drives off, like splashes a bunch of like mud and slush on him as he drives away.
then hits the flame. I like when Batman also turns the flames on that one clown, just lights him up, no fucking problem whatsoever.
He does kill a lot in this one. I guess technically he probably kills more in the 89 one because of the factory, but I mean, as far as the amount of death we see in this one, yeah, he does kill a lot of them.
Yeah, if you minus out that one factory scene in the first one, it's not a ton. This one here, it's all personal.
Especially, I'm surprised he didn't go after that fucking poodle. Like, that poodle took my fucking batarang.
Yeah, exactly. The real. Well, see, those are those gadgets too. That like I remember as a kid though, like when that Batarang scene came up, I was like, oh, it's so fucking cool. Just imagine if you had one of those and you could just like lock onto all like the those kids at school and just chuck it at them. Of course, the first thing you think about when like is bringing a weapon to school. Show your friends, look at this cool Batarang gun. What does it do? Well, it locks onto people you don't like.
Does the zoom in thing?
You throw it.
No, like I will say that like, because we talk about Penguin a lot. I do think that something that I didn't notice till this viewing. I did notice that every time Michelle Pfeiffer, like her costume denigrates as the movie goes on.
Yeah, because it's just, hastily sewn together in a fit of rage as she comes home and, destroys everything and just, like, pulls out the old, sewing machine and puts this leather jacket to use to make a costume. And then as time goes on, each part pieces together and starts falling apart.
And it's not too overly not in like an overly sexualized. I mean, the costume's very sexualized, but the costume falling apart isn't overly sexualized, but it's more in a way it just falls apart just by the end because by the time the mask is coming off, like, okay, it makes sense. This is where everyone's pulling off their mask and Batman's pulling off his like like rubber mask. It comes off, no problem, I guess.
He just rips it off, and for some reason, he lost the eyeliner in the process.
Yeah, exactly.
I think he should have just had those on there, just look like this big old raccoon eyes looking at her.
There's apparently a bit.
Oh, do you do that every time? Or you're like, well, I do it while I'm driving into Gotham. I got like 25 minutes to kill.
There's apparently a bit in Batman Begins where he's about to run downstairs after he gets back to his party, and like Alfred's like, wait, stop. And he like wipes the eyeliner off his face. Go. Yeah.
Yeah, that would make sense just to kind of explain that there. See, I feel like, but in the Tim Burton movie, like logic's not really necessarily there because everything's such an artistic expression type thing, so it doesn't make a difference for that kind of stuff.
Well, I do like the way Gotham looks in this movie. Like, I do like the way how it's just like, it looks kind of like, because it's, I think you could call this a Christmas movie because Christmas is pretty consistent throughout it. I think just didn't take place at Christmas, but just how cold, like just Gotham and snow always looks pretty cool.
Yeah, no, and it has that cool, just like everything about it, the design. And realistically, I'll say this, like, I think the animated series takes the look of 89 and Returns and filters it out, like, kind of like just right. Mm-hmm. Where it keeps a lot of these like old school, like 30s kind of architect looking elements and so on like that, and just these very like almost like monolith kind of designs. And
Art Deco and whatnot.
Yeah, all that kind of stuff. Because that is the thing. Is like, once again, like that's what a lot of times like some of the best stuff of a Tim Burton movie is just like all the building stuff. I mean, that's really what makes things like Beetlejuice really cool. That's what makes things like Ed Wood even really cool. Some of those extra like set designs and so on that he has in there. And with Batman too, like there is a neat look to it and everything like that.
Yeah. I think that the look of this movie is one of the stars of it. And I think that for a long time I did have my issues with it because of just the lack of Batman in it. Not just lack of Batman, but just how like much of Tim Burton. Because don't get me wrong, I do think like this is a point when Tim Burton was kind of like, how I put it. Because I feel like there are times where I do want a director's take. I do want, otherwise I don't need the same thing. Because I think if we get the same thing too much, we're getting basically like, oh, this is Batman on a disposable paper cup made for a kid's birthday party. That's what we get if we get the same thing too often. So I don't want that. But at the exact same time, I want like, I feel like sometimes at this point in Tim Burton's career, and I don't know him, but anything, but like at the same time, it feels like I know better. It kind of comes across that way sometimes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, he always does have that sort of, he's the pretentious art school guy who, is going to Andy Warhol his own like way across this and so on, and it's one of those things I think at this point too, because in a sense he was making a lot of money for Warner Brothers. Beetlejuice did really good. I think Pee-wee's was also Warner Brothers. That did extremely well. Edward Scissorhands, of course. So he has all these ones, but he's just at the same time, like none of those movies scream like, hey, this is the guy we should get for our superhero movie. Like where Richard Donner doing Superman seems like, oh, okay, there's Richard Donner. Seems like, okay, he's going to run with it. He likes Superman and all that kind of stuff. Where Tim Burton's like, I'll take a look at The Dark Knight Returns, see what that's all about. Did you read it? Well, I flipped through it, I looked at it. It's like, is as far as you're going to go? Yeah, it's kind of about it. I got ideas already. And I feel like
1966.
The downfall sometimes is like you want to have that little bit of artistic vision, but you almost want to have... I still think you want to have somebody who actually kind of likes the material. I don't know what... There's sometimes a notion that you want to grab somebody that has either, one, no knowledge of like the source material or doesn't really care. I don't know why that's like something that's like a virtue when it comes to making sometimes adaptations. I get it, I guess, if you had a fresh eyes, maybe you'll see something different. Like maybe that wouldn't hurt as like somebody to work alongside. I don't know. Like that's just if you were in a writer's room with 6 people and one person didn't know what Batman was and it was brand new to them, that might be a little bit different. Then they could ask kind of regular people questions, I guess. But I think it's one of those ones. I still always think it should be realistically somebody like a Kevin Smith. I think is always kind of the thing. And even if I always thought about this as like, if Kevin Smith even didn't want to like direct it, because I know he's always kind of had that thing of like, oh, I don't know if I can do these action movies and so on, which we learn later on. No, you totally could. The Red State's the perfect example and everything. But is do the thing where Kevin Smith writes it, Robert Rodriguez directs it.
Something like that. I mean, I'm not sure if I'd even want Robert Rodriguez doing a Batman movie because I feel like he almost has too much of his own style. Maybe I'm sure he could do something, but I just don't see him as Batman. I know he directed Sin City, but even that, like, I don't know. I just don't see Robert Rodriguez as Batman. But I could.
No, I was just kind of throwing that out as like I was picturing if you had late '90s guys who are going to have to take over. Obviously Batman Forever is a little too close to that, but like almost if it was Batman and Robin kind of era, like '97. I feel by that point Kevin Smith and Robert Rodriguez are established, and they're just as established as Tim Burton would have been in '89. You know what I mean?
That's something that could have happened then. I'll say that like it's one of those things where, because when I see '89, I still see a Batman movie. Maybe not my ideal Batman movie, but I still see a Batman movie, and I kind of remember, oh right, this is Tim Burton. I kind of have to remind myself that's a Tim Burton movie. This one, there's no way you like. I think of it as a Tim Burton movie for a Batman movie, and I think that how do I put this? It's like, in spite that going against it, I've come around and kind of liked this movie more. It was one of those movies like I liked it. It was like it's whatever. Then I kind of came back around and being, actually I do like this movie. I do like it. It's I don't like it because it pushes the material aside, but I think by coincidence, it is at least an entertaining enough movie. And the idea of it's this dark, gothic fairy tale that goes bad on Christmas Eve.
Yeah, no, and that's exactly it. It's like at the end of the day, it is still a very interesting movie. It's got some cool elements. There's a lot of stuff I do always kind of enjoy about it. It's also very nostalgic for me as well, too. Where I do think that, like, '89 Batman, for being, like, in a sense, the first Batman movie out the door that's not like a serial or something like that, or not a TV show, it still hits a lot of the marks pretty darn well. You know what I mean? Like, it delivers pretty darn good. Where this one's the very artistic, creative change and everything like that, which didn't, as a kid, like, I could watch these movies back to back, and you'd be like, I don't just see that they just, you're just looking at the stuff that kids look at. It's only in like hindsight when I look more at it and so on. But yeah, no. There's still so much good stuff here. And then even like, Christopher Walken, even though he's kind of a made up character, because I think in the Sam Hamm one, that kind of was supposed to be, that slot was reserved for Harvey Dent, the Billy D. Williams version of that, who was going to turn into Two-Face, which that's always kind of a bummer, because I feel like that actually would have been really sweet.
Well, the electric kiss is what was meant to scar him.
Yeah, exactly. So when when Selena like literally electrocutes him and so on, like that would burn half his face.
But also, I want to say, I'm not sure how it happened. I originally heard that like he'd rather work with Chris Walken than Billy D. Williams, but then that wasn't the case. Something else happened where more and more Two-Face was getting written out, and they said, "Well, who should this character be?" And they just made this character up, Max Schreck, and I guess he named him after the actor who played Count Orloff in one of the old Universal movies, and the only thing is, I think that like I understand he loves Universal and he loves monster and horror shit.
he loves Universal. He works for Warner Brothers.
Yeah, but I mean, some things are classic, But at the exact same time, I'm like, I think there's one simple fix. You could have kept him totally the same thing, and you could have just done this one little thing. You would have made it Batman. You could have just named him Rupert Thorne. You could have done that, and that would have been, Rupert Thorne's a mafia guy, but he's a dude with white hair. Rupert Thorne is nobody's favorite Batman villain, not by a long shot,
But that just throws that little cool, like, oh yeah, there is a third villain in that movie. If you didn't notice, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, when I first saw, because I didn't remember his name, when I first saw Batman Begins, I assumed Carmine Falcone was Rupert Thorne, because I knew Rupert Thorne because he's wearing a white suit a couple of times. Like, oh, he's that guy from, okay, cool. Because you're not thinking, like, favorite Batman villains, Joker, Scarecrow, like, Two-Face, Rupert Thorne, that's never that. It's like, so I was like, oh, a mafia guy. Oh, that must be Rupert Thorne. How about that guy from, it's some other guy from the comics. And now that guy is almost kind of like Falcone's almost like elbow Rupert Thorne out. So whenever you need like a mafia guy in a flashback, it's always Falcone.
Yeah, Falcone's become like literally the big guy from that. Because did Falcone literally just appear like in Long Halloween? Was that the first time? He probably came a little bit beforehand. But...
Year one. I think his first appearance was year one.
Year one, that's
and
right.
Then,
he's in year one. Yeah.
And then maybe he had minor appearances, but I want to say Jeff Loeb, since it takes place with like a year or two after, like year two or whatever, he pulled more and more and made it all about let's not make someone up. Let's just who's this character that was in the Frank Miller one? Falcone? Oh, maybe him. Cool.
Yeah, exactly. But no, then you just get Christopher Walken chewing scenery up, kind of looking like an old Greek lady in this movie.
Look like an old Greek lady.
So pushing Selena Kyle out of a window. I like how he's got a really like good relationship with his son, whose son almost kind of seems kind of like, I don't know, like this goofball guy who's like maybe only good at sports or something like that, and it's just like, he's going to take over the family business. Dad's almost slightly unsure, but he loves his boy so much for some reason.
Well, I almost think it's funny because like he's just basically doing a Christopher Walken impression.
Yeah, well, you need to sound like it because you're my son.
I get what you mean, Dad.
And he's also like a couple inches taller, so it's just like he just kind of seems like this big Galuk son and whatnot. And even like when the penguin's like, "I'm out to take all the firstborn, give me the big one."
Well, it's also like,
but Dad, I don't know if like son, like he's like, weren't you in charge of the rugby captain? Can't you take out this little short guy? What was all those 4 years of school for? Oh, Dad, I actually was a towel boy. I didn't want to tell you.
Also, he has an umbrella. Oh, but he's like, it shoots something. This isn't actually the umbrella that shoots anything. This one's just a regular umbrella. Like, well, still, you could like whack me in the side of the head with something.
It's got a pointy tip on it. You poke an eye out.
This is the umbrella that's actually a mobile when I open it up.
It's like, it's like, it just seems funny. It's just like this, like big, you got this big, huge strapping son, and then Chris Paul's like, no, take me instead. I'll go down there as the firstborn. That's who you really want.
That is a crazy, like, idea, though. Just like, I mean, it doesn't sound like something that wouldn't be in a Batman movie, but something they're really trying to advertise hard to kids, and they're just being like, yeah, so, Penguin's going to try and steal the firstborns, and then like chuck them in like sewer water for like on Christmas Eve, when they're all nice and snug in their beds waiting for like Santa Claus to come. The world's slowest theme cart attraction train is going to just work its way down Gotham Main Street, and then
nobody seems to notice.
Clowns are going to backflip into people's houses to take the kids.
If put them in cages like they're animal crackers.
Yeah, I mean, I say I'm surprised they got as far as they did, but
I think it's that thing that because Batman '89 made so much money that I think Warner Brothers did that thing like, just let the creative guy go with it. We'll make something similar, right? I mean, they did make a copious amount of money. It's not that they did it, but it's the thing that literally ruined the movie tie-in for like a good while because the movie tie-ins were so big in that late 80s, early 90s, of that you had all the cool stuff. And I mean, like really at McDonald's, not only did you have the toys, but they had those cool Batman Returns cups and they had the little Frisbee lids and everything on them and whatnot. So, which probably, think about that at McDonald's in the 90s. People just throwing those through, like, your dining room the whole time.
You're just, like, trying to, like, take however many orders and you get, like, hit in the side of the head with one of those.
Yeah.
A couple times a day.
Some kid's complaining because he wants a Batman one and all you got left is Penguin.
Penguin. I remember I had the Catwoman and the Batman ski one. I think there's, like, two different Batmans, and then... I think there's like two Batmans, one Penguin, one Catwoman. I had Catwoman and I had the Batman like boat one. And I want to say I was just like, you're like, well, it's Batman. Okay, cool. It's Batman. I mean, I would have liked the regular Batmobile, but it's Batman. I'll take it. You know, then I got the big Batmobile. I was like, worth it. Cool.
There we go. That's like that one in the long run. I kind of wish there was a Max Schreck one. Just like I like something like when you get old, like that would have been the one you would have been really bummed if you got that as a kid. But like nowadays, I'm like,
man, Christopher Walken.
You know, but like I think nowadays if you'd be like, oh, that's kind of cool. That's like the weird oddball choice, like that they put on the cup.
They just revealed. We won't stay on this for too long. But they just revealed the first little teaser for the Street Fighter movie, and they also revealed the character posters of all the actors. And there's some like, okay, Blanca, okay, Dazlin, Ryu, Akuma, cool. And then they have Eric Andre is Balrog's like promoter, you know, like Don Savage or whatever. Like, so if you're getting like the character posters, you're like, I mean, I like Eric Andre fine, but sure,
he's not a selectable fighter.
Yeah, or then they had like Joe, who I think is just like someone you fight in Street Fighter 1, you know? So it's just like at least Julie's a playable character. Come on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because in Street Fighter 1 you can only play as Ryu and Ken, so yeah.
I'm guessing they put on all the name people with all the like, oh, here's a character who has like one fight scene like in a bar or some shit like that, you know, something to that effect.
Yeah, I feel like nowadays because it's just easy to print out, you know, as many things as you want. So it doesn't take like a whole lot of effort. Like, you know, back in the day, you know, you making those big, thick, physical like plastic cups, like those ones that like don't degrade over time, you know, which I do oddly kind of miss. I know they're not like, you know, properly recyclable, but like, you know, those old fashioned, like I have such an obsession with like the old school like fast food tie-ins that they used to have with all that kind of cool cups and all stuff. Mainly the cups. I think the cups is at the end of the day the best part of it all.
Well, most of it's not as, I mean, granted, I mean, most of it's not as cool as it used to be anyway, or, you know, like...
Well, they don't put the quality in. It's not like... I think of like Batman Forever actually had some of the coolest ones with those crystal cups that they had. You know, and they were only like a couple bucks. I mean, you had to like order, you know, whatever. I can't remember if it was Burger King for that. No, it's still McDonald's, I think. You know, so you had to order, but then like I think they like charged. It was like a 99 cents or $1.99 extra for it. Like, I mean, granted, that's back then, so that'd be like $8 nowadays. But
like the gold-plated Pokeballs or gold-plated Pokemon cards with the Pokeballs.
Yeah, Burger King. Yeah, those ones were super cool. You know. But yeah, ironically, Batman Returns, because of that, like there was like a dry period for like a couple of years where they didn't know exactly what to do with the fast food tie-ins because that kind of put a sour note in it that you put a serial killer kind of guy. It's like a Happy Meal toy.
Like, hey, we got the new X-Men movie coming out. Like, is Wolverine gonna like threaten to like chop off like kids' dicks with his claws? Like, no, that's. Well, that won't happen probably till like the 5th movie, but you know.
Yeah, then the next thing you know, him and you know Professor Xavier will just be you know swearing f-bombs at each other back and forth.
No, so you want to see what happens with a psychic gets Alzheimer's? Let me show you. Yeah, no. But like the thing with like, yeah, it's crazy when you think about how hard they were marketing that movie to kids. Because I'm not one of those people like, I'm not like. They shouldn't. I'm not one of those. They should not have been marketing that movie to kids. I'm not saying the movie shouldn't have been made how it was made. It should have been made how he wanted to make it. It just should have been marketed to kids. That's all. You know. But even the kids would eventually want to see it. When I was a kid, I'll be honest, I really wasn't. I was a kid who was scared of everything, and that movie didn't really scare me. Even with Penguin going like crawling out of the sewer and like you know coughing up black shit and talking about how he wants to fuck everything. You know.
Well, it's funny because like on this version I have. It literally has like an age 15. I can't remember if this is either Canadian or if it's Peggy, but it's not American.
Probably Canadian. It's probably Canadian because
so it might be a Canadian rating. So it's like that's like one step away. That's like that because they have the in between rating of PG-13 and then like a rated R. So it has like in a sense a hard PG-13.
Here I want to say they stop at 16. I think.
Yeah, maybe that's it. Yeah.
Here they have 12, which is more or less your PG-13, and then 16.
Yeah, you know, because I want to say that like the next one up for the Canadian one at least, I think goes straight to 18. You know,
you actually have to be 18 to see this, not even 17. Yeah.
Well, no, this one's 15, but like if
no, I'm just saying like if you want to go see it 18 up, like like as if you're buying like a pack of cigarettes or something.
Exactly, in Canada, like, you gotta keep it. But then again, there'll be some movies though in Canada where like, it's rated R in the U.S., it's like PG in Canada.
Yeah, I've seen that. It's kind of confusing.
So like they all have their different ways of viewing it and so on like that. But yeah, that kind of goes to show, because I want to say the other Batman movies in like this set that I have, it's like one of those ones where I bought it off Amazon. Like sometimes they just kind of send you like the Canadian version. It's all region. Don't worry about it. I want to say the other ones are all like 12 or whatever.
Yeah. Because I guess for how silly they all are. But this one's the one where just like, well, let's pump the brakes.
Let's pump the brakes there,
I mean, this one's pretty fucking silly, but it's like silly, like in a
dark silly, I guess you would say.
I mean, it still goes by the vibe of like a 66 thing. This is like, how do we get a hold of the city? Well, perhaps if we get a mayor, that will work for us, all that kind of shit. And then they're just like some fucking creature crawling from the sewer is gonna suddenly get elected from like even the way how he saves the mayor's baby, like oh no, it's the Penguin Man, please don't hurt me, like I am a freak but here's your child, like that whole thing, like that, like it would happen. I mean, I know it wouldn't happen that way, obviously, but still, another draft, I get where you're going.
That clown goes in like the exact same hole with the baby, and then the Penguin comes out of there. Like, did that seem like that was set up? Yeah.
And that's part of like, it's like the 66 show. Yeah, that's 66. It's fine. People, they believed it then, they believe it now. Fuck it, I think that's the thing with it. And there is like, despite my complaining about that, there is some good, like, I think full circle thing. Like I like the idea. Like I didn't notice it when I first saw the movie, obviously because I was a kid. But I mean, later viewings, like the thing where when he's running after everything goes to shit, and he goes running from the cops, and he like throws himself into like the river, the same spot his parents threw him into, and then goes back to the river. And he's like, "Fuck it," he went the whole thing like, "I'm not Penguin, I'm Oswald," and he's like, "Fuck it, I'm not Oswald, I am the Penguin," and then. When he finally dies, like the penguins kind of give his little like funeral procession and just kind of like
they all like
waddle.
Carry him out. Dut, 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 dut.
It's kind of funny, but also kind of like it is a little kind of sad in some way. Like,
yeah, it is.
He had
it's
to
like,
die.
Yeah,
he had to die. I mean, he was like this broken thing,
Yeah, that nobody knew what to deal with and so on. And realistically, Gotham actually was pretty, for the fact that when he comes up and he is just this monster man and so on like that, they're like, oh, let's make a mayor. Like they're actually pretty acceptable in Gotham, you know what I mean? Like if that happened anywhere else, be like, hell no, you get out of here, But they're like, hey, you know what? Let's give the monster penguin guy a chance. What about that black stuff coming out of his mouth? Well, I'm not going to judge anybody. He just probably didn't have good dental care down there.
Yeah. What happens when you get like, like, because he was raised for whatever reason. I remember it being like the circus found him, but then I was like, no, he was raised by penguins. So at least was it the circus or was it penguins? I
want to say that I know that I've heard the circus one. I can't remember if that's either mentioned in the movie. Because I almost want to say that's like sort of how you tie all the Joker goon kind of guys in there. Is that, okay, they're just like, yeah, everybody came from the circus and so on. Like that's part of his origin, is that he was a monster guy in the circus, the freak show in a sense. And then
I think it makes more sense because it is an old theme park they're under. So that would make more sense. And I think the penguins were left over too. So I think he did run away to the circus. I think he was with the circus.
Yeah, maybe it was a non-traveling circus.
One of the things is that he was with a traveling circus.
Oh yeah. Well, maybe they got Regency. They got Regency, and it lasted all of 2 years, and then they had to shut it down.
Well, chances are there's a period.
It lasted 2 years because this one kid's like parents both died in a trapeze accident. Nobody wanted to come back.
Well. What, they can't catch a fucking rope? What's their fucking problem? Why make it our fault? Why make it our problem,
Yeah. Who knew they had such good life insurance policy? That little bastard sued the hell out of us.
Yeah, but he needs it. He got adopted by first off, he's a man. He got adopted by another man.
Down at the club. where older men meet slightly younger men.
They still call them boys, you know. What's the thing
Yeah,
about it?
or wards. That's what rich people call.
They prefer him flexible though, you know.
Yeah, he likes those gymnastic kind. Get him in compromising positions.
Well, that was the thing about Forever, which is like they do like they like I'm gonna hey you young man,
Yeah.
it look like you're like
24-year-old.
Yeah. Your parents died. How would you have you ever considered being bought by another man?
Yeah, it's like one of those who was. It's like I feel like if Chris O'Donnell like aged into the role, that would be fine. But he's like literally at like Nightwing age, as he's already being brought in as Robin.
Yeah. I mean, I think a good way to do Robin, we'll get back to the movie proper in a second, but I think a good way to do Robin, just to kind of like take a little bit of the irresponsibility off Batman, is if Robin starts off as a separate, and this will be for future movies or other versions of the comic, I just think it'd be a good idea. Robin starts off as a separate vigilante in Gotham, working in Bloodhaven or whatever, and Batman's trying to stop him, and then or he's trying to keep up with him. Like, this kid's actually pretty fucking good. You know, if this kid's gonna keep on doing it, maybe I could at least give him some pointers and work with him, and then in time it becomes Batman and Robin. You know?
Yeah, no, that sounds about right. Like, yeah, he is kind of like a kid doing it on his own, almost like Spider-Man style, and then all of a sudden, Batman's like, "Oh no, not on my turf!" Gets like the net gun out, captures him, clubs him over the head a couple times, drags him back to the Batcave. Kid wakes up and be like, "Boy, you've been drafted into a war."
Cue the Pantera music, opening credits.
Batman until the first line before the first line of dialogue, Batman has like he just has grunting sounds and so on like that as he's watching, like almost like Clint Eastwood in like Gran Torino.
It's not even that. It's like you're just watching like Robin like fight crime. Like it's like through
it's like over the shoulder shots of like you never see Batman's face. Just like he's looking through like binoculars.
And you just hear like heavy breathing and grunts.
But yeah, it is weird though to think by this point we still really don't ever other than Chris O'Donnell we have like no real proper like Robin ever like in a movie.
I mean, they'll be getting one apparently in the. I mean, they've been kind of very quiet about it, but like apparently Damian Wayne's going to be in the DCU one, which implies that there's been other Robins before him. So
yeah. I mean, that one does, but that's the other one does make kind of low. It's his son, so it doesn't seem as weird that he just like captured this 15-year-old boy.
It's just take your kid to work day. It's all.
Yeah, that's all it is, you know. And you know, your kid was born an assassin.
Yeah, so it's not really his fault. It's his like shitty mother who had sole custody for a long time that he didn't know about. You know.
Yeah, and it's really, really old grandfather.
Yeah, but go back to this for a second. I do think. I do think that Returns is, like I said, it's a very fucking weird movie with weird choices, but it is like things that are good about it are really good. Like I do think all the Penguin stuff is very entertaining. Just like I said earlier, it's just kind of like a toned down version of Frank Reynolds, sort of. Like,
yeah, exactly.
And even like Catwoman, like she is hamming it up. She's very hamming it up, but it's fun to watch still.
Yeah, no. She really does a good job and everything like that, you know, and just, yeah, character-wise, they're great. You know, the way the story plays out, like, you're engaged the whole time you watch this movie, you know, no matter what. You know, even if it is just like, okay, Batman's doing some weird shit here, but, you know, no matter what, the characters are cool, the locations are awesome. Like, it is one of those movies that I still really enjoy, you know. As I said, I don't think I like as much as 89. 89, I think, is the one that, like, I think does kind of hold up the strongest. But...
yeah. Of the Burton ones and all the
because it's just that one is still pretty solid. It's kind of like the same way that like the Richard Donner Superman one is, you know. Pretty much everything in it feels very Superman like. Other than the fact the only thing I think is kind of goofy in the Richard Donner one more than anything is I think there's the turn back time thing is a little bit. I feel like
Why don't you just do that every time?
That's the only part that kind of bothers me in that movie. I like that whole movie, but it just feels like it's sort of it's literally like a cop out. You know what I mean? And it's like. I sometimes I think there's that thing. It's like it's the 70s. We should be accepting death. I know it's 78, so we've kind of left that. If that movie was 72, it'd be like, yeah, Lois Lane died in a car accident. I wasn't there to save her. Shit happens. Credits. Just some real sad.
Me, Superman. Shut up, Jimmy.
Jimmy, shut the fuck up. Just some sad folk song plays. You know,
by Jim Croce.
You know, that's what that one would have been there. But since we're in 78 and George Lucas and Steven Spielberg turned that ship around, you know, to making movies, you know, more happy again, that's why we get probably that ending. We're like, you know, if I could turn back time.
You know, like someone like Sam Peckinpah was probably watching like Superman. He was like, this is a bunch of fucking bullshit. And like Lois Lane dies, like, that's the way it ought to be. That's fucking life. That's the way things happen. All of a sudden, he starts going back in time. Oh, what the fuck is this shit? You know? and then like, you see like the damn reseal. Like, I'm fucking done. Just gets up, walks out of the fucking theater. You know, like pisses on the ground on the way out.
Yeah, this is what Sam's like. You know, my career's over. I guess they're not gonna want me anymore.
I got one more. I got my trucker movie in me, and I think that's it.
Yeah. Convoy, which I think that's like the same year almost.
It wouldn't let me just after I had like a Russian lady gnaw off a Nazi's dick in Iron Cross, they won't answer my calls anymore.
They just tell me, can you make it more Star Wars like?
I do the more wars. I can do that.
yeah, I can do the war part, you know. Yeah, but war's not the same without the star part. I always just think of this like that all those new Hollywood guys, you know, that you know that I always kind of wondered what they kind of thought once all those like, you know, once the movie, I think could see Rocky, Star Wars, and like Close Encounters kind of came out, be like, fuck. Like, we can't do the sad ending anymore.
Yeah. Well, even Rocky, it's like he still lost, but he got the girl, but at the exact same time.
He went the distance, though. That was the whole point. It was like the Bad News Bears. Like, they don't win that game either, but that's not the point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. It's one of those things. Like, well, they also like, well, shit, guys. It was a run. It was a run, wasn't it? Because even like 60s was still like not 60s was they were starting to get a little ballsier, kind of, I guess.
Well, the late 60s has a lot of those because you get like the Roman Polanski movies, Bonnie and Clyde, Easy Rider, you know. Yeah. So it starts in like that, and then it kind of. It's funny because mainly what tanks like that new Hollywood stuff like is in the late 70s is some of those directors, including Steven Spielberg, actually is part of the problem, is they had those like budgets where they just blew a copious amount of money and, you know, did not make any of that back. 1941 being Steven Spielberg's one, because I think he spent like over $100 million of 70s money on that movie, you know. And that movie's that movie's weird. I've watched it a couple times over life, and it's like, I don't know. Like as a kid, it was just like, oh, cool. It's just John Belushi and whatnot. It's got like this weird World War II theme, and like there's like kind of a parody, and I don't know what's going on, but it's a bizarre movie.
I need to see that.
Yeah,
it's just like I'm just imagining because like I haven't seen it. I need to see it still, but just imagining like when you see the trailer it's from the director of 1941. You know, just like this wacky ass World War II movie, and then just like mama, like while John Belushi was like crashing a plane down like downtown Manhattan, like whoops, you know, cut back to like, you know, Tom Hanks like earn it.
Because I think it was that one, and then I think Heaven's Gate. I think was the biggest one of them all because that literally destroyed United Artists. Which I've always wanted to see that movie. That's one of those ones that's been on that list because I think it's actually a really legitimately good movie. One of those ones that cost way more and it made like a third of what it cost. You know, because I think people were hoping for like the almost apocalypse now, where it's like, dude, that movie's costing a fuck ton. Like, what the hell's gonna happen here? And then ironically, that movie actually made a bunch of money, so it worked out. But that was like the only one that did. So many of those other ones just cost a ton of money. I think Reds was another one that fit in that too, the Warren Beatty one. I watched that one not too long ago. But I think that was one of those ones where like everybody had these like great, like, oh, I got this big epic story, it's going to be awesome and so on like that. I just think that like, you know, communist Americans in 1910, they're Warren, it's kind of okay. It's got Jack Nicholson in it for a second, you know. Why'd it cost so much? Well, you traveled all around the world. We did all those kind of stuff. Like, yeah, you sure did.
Glad you had fun.
Yeah, like, you know. So, what kind of Star Wars you got coming next for us? To reclaim this, you know, lost arc that we just had here.
So, you guys care about the next Star Wars? Yes.
Yeah.
It is all we care about. Yeah.
We don't care how many people Diane Keaton's going to sleep with in your movie.
Go into this.
Back to Batman that did not tank the box office one bit.
This did not. Well, this did good. This didn't do as good as 89, but it still made a lot of money. But there wasn't as much as like
266 just in theaters alone.
So it did good. It didn't do as good as 89, but I guess this is also the time where they expected less for the sequel.
Yeah, because it still wasn't at that point where like, oh shit, the sequels actually make more, you know. Because even this, that was
two may have been the first time a sequel like did really good, outpassing maybe Star Wars, but like.
Oh, Godfather 2 was the initial one that did better than the first, but that was kind of like a one-off. I felt like at that time period, and then as time kind of went on, Star Wars with Empire and everything like that, I think. And then, Terminator 2 was the one where... But granted, Terminator 1's such a small budget movie compared to that.
I guess by comparison, yeah.
You know, it's going to make more. You just mentioned Terminator 2. Okay, they just had this T2 new video game come out literally yesterday, and it's kind of all done like side-scrolling, pixel style and everything like that. They sell it off like, kind of like arcade style. Really what it is it's actually kind of a ballsy one. It's like... There's a Terminator 1 game for Sega CD that's one of my, almost probably my favorite Sega CD game out there. It's so good. And this game literally feels like if you made a Terminator 2 sequel to that Sega CD game. Once again, that seems like, talk about the hardest pitch. So what were you doing? Well, you know the Terminator. Oh, yeah, everybody likes Terminator. Terminator Sega CD. Oh, wait. Oh, hold on. This is what it's going to be. So they did like a Terminator 2 version of it. And the game was bad. I played through it twice last night. And they had like this like part where like when you go to Miles Dyson's house or whatnot like that, it gives you the option like to save him like in the movie or kill him right there on the spot. And then like when I did the second time around, because you had to get there, you kill him on the spot, and then it makes the future like because Sarah Connor thinks that that's going to solve it and stuff. And what happens is that the future goes bad, and then it's almost like you play as old Sarah Connor, and she's like, I gotta go find my boy. I fucked up, you know? And then she finally finds John Connor and everything that he's like locked up by like the Terminators and whatnot like that. And what that ending turned out to be is she's like, we got to send a T-800 back to save you as a boy and do it right. So she was the one who sent back the Terminator for Terminator 2, like old Sarah Connor. I thought that was kind of a cool, I mean, I know it's kind of like an alternative ending, but like, I was like, well, that was kind of neat. I thought that was something different.
I thought that was cool. I remember
like, I love my boy too much. I thought I was doing the right thing by shooting the richest black man in the world and trying to save the future, but it didn't work out that way.
Hold up, can we rewind for a second? No reason to rewind. Let's just keep moving forward. Like into the future. Like, there's a like asterisk to that. I just want to circle back on.
Yeah, it's just this crazy white woman busted to shoot the richest black guy in the world.
Does it have to be the richest black guy? I'm just the prophecy. I'm just saying what the prophecy says.
He owns Skynet. He's gonna push that button.
I'll say it was we were gonna do an episode on it, but then like time got it by us, and I managed to watch it. But we did that Terminator. I watched that Terminator anime that was on Netflix, and it just kind of did the thing like. Yeah, we keep on sending robots back and forth. Every time we send someone back in time, it just kind of creates its own loop. And so there's basically infinite number of times we sent all these like robots back. Nothing changed. I'm like, oh, okay, cool.
Well, it's like the weirdest thing because I think that like really in the James Cameron version of Terminator is that like it's supposed to end with two that like literally when Arnold dunks himself in the molten lava, that's it. You know, that clears it all up and everything like that. And of course, we have sequels, but I think in like the Terminator James Cameron proper, that kind of fixes that, and there is no future from past that point except for there is no fate but what you make.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of at the point where I'm like, I don't know, we keep on getting off topic. And I only have so much power
we're past the hour mark now. It's in like the free zone.
It's a free zone. Yeah, now we're Batman and Tim Burton talk. Now you're stuck with us. Fucking deal with it. No,
deal with the Terminator 2. Hey, it's not. It's about the same time period, early '90s. Sequels.
It's like. I mean, I like T2. I like T3 enough. It's not amazing. I like it enough. Salvation, I actually like. It's not the perfect movie, but I like Salvation because at least moves forward. But after that, everything else, it's just like. We got to keep going back in time because what's the fucking point? If we're just rebooting it every other movie, like everyone's like, this is the one we're fixing it. We're going back in time again. Like, can we just? I know it's a time travel franchise, but there's got to be other ways to go about it. Come on.
Yeah, well, it's one of those ones. Is like as much as I love Terminator, I've kind of come to the conclusion I really don't like time travel. I don't like time travel, and I don't really like different dimension stuff. I think that kind of puts too much Deus Ex Machina / cop outs like into stuff. Now it's fine for once again original Terminator, Back to the Future, whatever, But like a lot of times, like when I see time travel like come up, even in like comic books, it's like it's fucking time travel shit. Like, I always feel like it's one of those ones. Like I just feel like let's just pull that out of there. Like it's just. Like, we got to go back in time and fix this. No. Live with the consequences. Fix it. In post.
I like how Looper was more of like, it was kind of grounded in a more way. Like, there's only so much you can do within the confines of time travel.
Yeah, it had a lot more rules.
Yeah, like something like that. And even then, like people are like, still there's this and that. Like, shut the fuck up.
That was a good movie.
Yeah. That's one of Rian Johnson's best movies. And at the same time, though, on average, I'm just kind of like, time travel doesn't ruin it for me. I'm just kind of at this point where if I see Terminator coming out again, I'm like, because I was excited for the new one. Like, oh, Sarah Connor's back. Cool. And then like, John Connor died at the very beginning. I'm like, yeah, it's one of those things. Like, I'm not
CG like, Edward Furlong just gets blasted.
I'm not like, I wasn't like so like Edward Furlong's back. It wasn't like that, but it was more like, what's the point of all this if it's just like, I don't care that like the new John Connor is like a girl or whatever. It's just like, what's the point of all this then?
It's the same thing.
Rotating roster. It's just a rotating roster of people that could slide into his place. What was all the point of him stopping in the first place? Is this shit ever gonna fucking end?
Yeah. The worst part too is like this is the thing that always kind of bothered me of Terminator is like you don't have to do that same thing. You don't have to do that cat and mouse chase. You could make a Terminator movie and just have it be like a war movie, which what kind of was what Salvation was a little bit more like. That's why I think I give that one a little bit more credit because at least it was different for a Terminator film, But like that's the thing is like a lot of times it's like keep the Terminator. Switch your kind of like genre up of what you're going after, and that goes with a lot of movies too. It's like they get kind of pigeonholed, like it has to be this, and it's like, does it really have to be that? Like I'm pretty sure you can mix and match all this kind of stuff, Perfect examples like those Predator movies are good examples of like they switch those ones kind of up so it doesn't always feel like it's the same thing. It's Predator, but like it's Predator and doing something different, or it's like from a different perspective, or we're on another planet, or whatever.
Yeah. Or something if you want to do like a time travel thing with Terminator, maybe it doesn't even have to be like it's someone who's been to like both back, like say a character who's been in like the past and present, seeing two different timelines of it, and that's fucking with their mind. They're trying to like figure out like they can't remember how it happens. It keeps flashing between the two, so they're just like this is the one where we all die. This is the one where we all survive, but I don't remember how we. Because of the time does dilate, something kind of like that. Like anytime they come at a crossroads, it gets fuzzy and not knowing which one's going to lead to that. You know what I mean? Like because they can't be there because they're from that future, something to that effect. I don't know, just something kind of to that effect. I don't know. That's how I would do it rather than just like constant loop.
Yeah, once again, that's why the Terminator 1 and 2 kind of, I think, works just fine. It's because, like, it has, like, it's solid and it's done. And, yeah, that's why those two movies are, like, masterpieces. You know, no, as I said, I enjoy, you know, once again, just enjoy the rest of the Terminator movies just when I take them as is, you know. But it's that thing where it's, like, sometimes, yeah. And then once you start getting to the point where, like, you have multiple timeline type stuff, which is no different than multiple dimension type stuff, you know. I don't mind dimensions if it's something different, like Dimension X and, like, Ninja Turtles, or, like, you know, even an X-Men or something like that. Like, it's not like it's an alternative version of the same world. It's like a completely different world. That's fine. I think it's one of those ones when you start to get those multiple timelines and different alternative versions. Like, sometimes I just get kind of burnt out on that. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
you know, let's. You know, and I'm not saying you can't have your, like, Elseworld kind of, like, Batman story or something like that, but once it starts interweaving where it's like, we have so many different versions going on simultaneously at the same time, and we could travel to each one if something happens, so if we lose a character in one, we can pull them from the other, you know, it's just like, let's just have, you know what, fuck it, let's just have it where, like, you know, Superman couldn't go back in time, you know what, he fucked up, he wasn't there for Lois Lane when she was driving drunk or whatever the hell she was off the cliff during the earthquake.
Sam Peckinpah stops.
Was she drunk? Well, I don't know. It's the 70s, you know. Superman told her to stop smoking, you know.
Sam Peckinpah stops partway through the walkway, looks over his shoulder. Wait a minute. He's still pissing though. He's still pissing. He finishes, doesn't shake his dick. It just zips up. Still a bit of, like, piss on his pants, just like just stands down. Walks by, you know, just takes a few steps, standing there watching the rest of the movie. There's, like, a kid in the, like, you know, sitting in the alley. He takes some of the kids' popcorn with his piss-soaked hands, like, hey, like, I'm gonna knock that shit off, you know. You watch the movie, like,
he wipes his hands on the kid's fucking head, like, like a rag.
It's like, so that bitch fucking died, huh? And now this Kryptonian freak's got to fucking live with that. He's gonna live with his own fucking failures, like. This is true cinema. This is true fucking cinema. This is the greatest magic trick ever. They gave us 2 hours and 25 minutes of popcorn bullshit just so this little fucker right here to my right can learn the whole reality. There are no fucking heroes. Everyone fucking dies. This is the greatest magic trick ever fucking pulled.
Yeah, they fucking Uncle Ben that shit in that one.
I could see that. I could see that version of the movie.
Yeah,
just like I just like the version of, like, where, like, Bruce Wayne's parents get shot and, like, Sam Peckinpah was like, we should just end it right there, you know.
Just credits.
Pearls bouncing for, like, 2 hours straight. Some real auteur shit.
Ironically, Batman Returns, I mean, I know it's a sequel, but, like, it doesn't reference any of the parent stuff in there for the most part. I mean, they bring it up that, like, oh yeah, you know, somebody, you know, Batman kind of had, he must be somebody of some tragic incident, you know, but.
Yeah, I mean, I think they got the point across because not really. I mean, I guess he's still doing it because of the ache of his parents. Because that's the thing, I guess. In the context of '89, I get why they go, because when you go to see '89, you're not expecting, like, oh yeah, maybe Joe Chill by that point or just some mugger, and then you're watching it like the fucking Joker. Like, I think because that in the context of a movie that would catch you off guard.
Well, it makes a perfect circle for, like, when he defeats Joker at the end. It's like he literally actually kind of could retire from that point because that was like his revenge is now complete.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it kind of makes more sense in that. There's also another version of this where, like, Joker was being rolled in, like, because he survived his fall. Because even in the end of '89, even though he's basically dead, he's still living there, like, still laughing there while he's lying on the ground. It's like, oh, well, he actually survived somehow, and he's just, like, barely alive. He gets rolled into a chair and he had a bomb, and that's what scarred Harvey, like, at the beginning. Something to that effect was another version. It's played out several different times.
He fell down a fall thing, and then, like, you know, he landed there, and then a couple of clowns came by and chewed on his fingers, and he came back to life.
Here's another thing, going back to, like, Selena Kyle.
I don't know why, I just picture these clowns just kind of sliding on up, like, on, like their, like, bellies and stuff, just start nibbling on his fucking fingers.
I'm just imagining some real creepy like early MTV like Tool video shit, and then like they're not even like chewing on her fingers, they're like sucking on her fingers, going, like fish-eyed lens, like some real David Lynch shit, you know?
Yeah, just weird lighting.
Yeah, some real Eraserhead type shit going on, you know? But then, like, here's another thing it says how bad Gotham is. I mean, granted, Gotham was nice enough to be like, you know what? Let's give the freak a shot. He saved a baby, you know, that dressed like a starfish or whatever. You know, like, or a Christmas star, I guess. But like, the thing is, it's like, well, first off, I don't mean to keep derailing myself, but first off, like, hey, we're giving a speech here. Who the fuck's this mime just like dancing behind us? Just like, I'll take this.
They're probably like, oh, I thought that was kind of like like having a sign language guy, but just so like a mime could talk to other mimes, so like he's like a translator.
I mean, if that works, how many like politicians just like giving a speech, like, who the fuck brought this mime up? And all of a sudden, just mime guns him down or whatever.
I just love the idea that like somehow, some way, this gets passed through to be like, yo, okay, if they're gonna have a sign language person up there, we have to have a mime person up there. So like pressing issues are going on, like we are going in to, you know, a decline into civilization, but we will work our way out of another recession, and there's just a China has invaded. The mime's just like, woo! Just...
You don't want to see what he does when we start talking about the Chinese. You don't want to see what he does with that, all right?
No.
He's an older mime. Starts squinting his eyes and bowing.
But yeah, nobody notices the mime. Well, it's Gotham, I guess. It's just like one of those woods, like, you know, there's a clown on every corner, and you just assume by this point, like, if it's a clown, he probably has a gun. Let's clean this up real quick. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, it's also going back.
Well, those clowns are people too. And there's somebody out there saying that. You know.
It's like, who got the racist mime up here doing? The second we mentioned Chinese, did you see what he started fucking doing? What the fuck? Come on. I really wish you got the mime with the gun. Come on. No, like, how bad is Gotham City that Max Schreck could just like, you know what? I have people that could probably assassinate you, but I'm just going to shove you out the window myself, and probably the cats and the homeless will take care of you.
Yeah, I think about it too. It's like he doesn't even think about cleaning that body up. And then he's surprised when he sees her come back. You know what I mean? Like, you know, that didn't question his mind one bit. It's like, it's just gonna go away. You know what I mean? Something's gonna eat you down there.
Yeah.
If it's not the cats, if it's not that, it's gonna be the clowns. You know, those ones that, you know, they kind of scuttle around the ground,
making Gollum noises.
Yeah, dragging their fuzzy balls across the ground. I hate that.
I hate it so goddamn much. It makes me want to go into an opium den and play like Russian roulette.
Yeah, you step out in Gotham nowadays, and there's just a clown on the ground, you know, and you don't want to step on it because it's going to make a squeaking sound. You know. Next thing you know, your foot's stuck in its ass, and each time you're trying to pull it out, it keeps having more sound effects going.
Next time you're trying to get your like face paint off your goddamn shoes, no, thank you.
We really got a clown problem here, and people are like, well, the clowns are people. They could just live wherever they want.
Well, who better yet to handle the clown problem than the king of the clown people, this fish man we found in the fucking sewer.
Let's put him as mayor, because I hate the other guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's just days of Gotham.
Yeah, so yeah, in hindsight, this movie, I mean, I'm going to try and pop back on for another Christmas episode down the line. We'll see if it happens, but I definitely wanted to get this one in because this is kind of a Christmas movie, in my opinion. Do you feel Christmassy when you watch this movie?
No, I definitely do. This one definitely fits into that. I know it kind of has that like similar category of, it's like Die Hard and Lethal Weapon and those movies that kind of like, has a Christmas, overlay to it, But
especially with the kind of dreamy Danny Elfman, kind of music,
Yeah, exactly. But I think it definitely has a lot of Christmas stuff going on to it and so on. If you want more Christmas magic, you can play the Super Nintendo game of Batman Returns is really cool. So is the Sega CD one as well too. It's got but they are kind of fun. It's one of those weird. The Super Nintendo one's that weird era though where they made single player beat 'em up games. Be like, you don't have any fucking friends, you know it.
Well, who else would you play as in that? I guess Jim Gordon.
I got more screen time in the Super Nintendo game than I did the movie.
Alfred, maybe you could throw like he walks with the serving tray, throws like Captain America's shield. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. But no, that's just how it was. It was like the Power Rangers game was single player. There was just a lot of them on Super Nintendo. The X-Men game was single player. It's just like it's just one of you got a Super Nintendo. You didn't make any friends. That's for the Genesis kids. Genesis kids are a little bit poor, so they got to have friends to make up for it.
You got money. You don't need friends. You have a Super Nintendo.
But yeah, no, Batman Returns. I'm glad we just kind of watch it because I have been thinking about watching these movies again for a while. So I think I might even just throw on 89 and kind of go from there. It's just been a while, You always need Batman in your life. That if there's one thing that's true that stays the course of time is that you can never have enough Batman in life, and it's always there for you because there's so many different avenues you can go.
Batman is love. Batman is life. Yes.
Yeah, he's not only religion, but he's also politics. He's everything in one. you don't need to question anything. There was once Jesus, but now there's Batman.
Merry Batmas.
yeah. But celebrate some Batman this Christmas season. But with all that good old fun Batman times and whatnot, go enjoy some Batman Returns and then check out any of the other Old Man Orange podcasts on Spotify and YouTube. Till then, I'm Spencer Scott Holmes.
And I'm Ryan Zunigan.
And we'll see you some other time.
Later, folks.